Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, how will the new Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership impact the state? Also tonight, hear about two programs aimed at boosting business in Tempe, and we'll talk about the 30 million word gap in early education. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The U.S. Commerce Department recently released a report that shows how Arizona could potentially benefit from the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement. Here to talk about the TPP's impact on the state is Doug Brumke. He's the CEO and founder of Scottsdale-based Global Chamber, an organization designed to grow business while collaborating to support trade. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
Give me a better definition. Trans-Pacific Partnership. What are we talking about here?
That's a mouthful.
Yes.
Probably better said TPP.
There we go.
It's basically 12 countries that have gotten together. They've built off of trade agreements in the past and built an agreement that says, hey, we're going to do a lot more trade with each other. It's partially in a relationship with China. China is not one of the 12, and so given what China is doing, it's actually a little bit of a play against China and for these 12 countries, including the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and several in Asia and Latin America.
A little counterbalance there. Pacific Rim countries mostly?
Mostly Pacific Rim, Latin America. So you've got some in there. You've got North America as well.
I've heard it described as NAFTA on steroids. Is that an apt description?
Well, it's a significant portion of the world's commerce. You know, $2 billion a day is done across borders around the world, and this is quite a chunk of it between these 12 countries.
What does this change as far as tariffs are concerned, as far as American-made products, Arizona-made products? What's different?
Well, the good news is there's something in it for everyone, but particularly business, you know, and American businesses and Arizona businesses, because one of the key things that it does is lower tariffs and reduces regulation. So those countries, 60% of Arizona exports are to these countries. This is going to make it a lot easier to go. So for instance, into Malaysia, there's a 40% tariff on poultry today. Into Vietnam, there's a 27% tariff on auto parts. Both of those go to zero. So those companies in Arizona that are exporting, instead of a 40% tariff, making it 40% more expensive to sell in Malaysia, suddenly that 40% disappears and they become competitive overnight.
Conversely, cheaper goods from these countries more available now in America?
It works the other way too, but the thing is the tariffs on that side of it are almost always a lot higher than the U.S. So preferentially, you know, these countries, the Arizona companies are going to get a great benefit.
And we should say 60% of Arizona exports to these partners, that equates to what, like $13 billion a year, something along those lines?
$13 billion is a chunk of change.
Yes, it is.
You know, Arizona is about half as good as most states on average, so we're actually a little bit behind on exporting. This should give the state a boost and exporters a boost.
This agreement, this pact is not without its critics, and they are there and they are loud, and they're saying that this may be nice in the short term, but there are long-term concerns, especially involving the U.S. trade deficit and some other things we can get to. But this isn't a panacea, is it?
Well, it's got a lot of things that actually you don't even hear that are even more positive, and I'll give you one example. Most of the effort has been around the tariffs, or most of the communication has been around tariffs, but it works positively toward Arizona and the U.S. in terms of foreign direct investment. One example, Audi was putting an automotive plant in North America, and they were choosing between the U.S. and northern Mexico. They chose northern Mexico, but what they said in the decompression after that is if TPP was in place, because of the ability to come into the U.S. with less regulation, and because the EU and Mexico had an agreement already in that time, and the U.S. and the EU did not, suddenly they would have chosen the U.S. with TPP. So the positive news about this is that there's a foreign direct investment, companies coming and investing in Arizona potential that most people haven't heard about yet, but it's a great positive.
Does that investment outweigh the potential for lost jobs. That's another major factor here that we're hearing a lot of criticism that, American jobs could be adios with an agreement like this.
One of the things about trade agreements is it increases trade everywhere. And so the Global Chamber, which we're part of, that's all we're about. Let's increase trade. The good news about this is it lowers the barriers on all sides and trade increases. The other parts that are positive relative to the environment and worker rights, the agreement actually has stipulations in there that requires some of these countries to improve both their environmental regulations and the way they treat workers. And so it has a little bit of positive for everybody. The negative, though, and I know you've asked me that a couple times and I probably haven't really gone there, the biggest negative in all this is change. What happens when this happens, when you've got agriculture and you've got manufacturing, you've got all these industries, there will be a shift. There'll be some going out, there'll be some coming in. But as you probably know, there's a lot of repatriation of manufacturing going on right now. This is going to accelerate that.
Is it going to help in Arizona? And multinationals will be helped whether they have any presence in Arizona or not. But the mom and pops, the startups, the smaller businesses in Arizona and in other states, will they be helped or will they be trampled underfoot?
It's actually, I don't know the data in terms of specifically exactly how it'll work, but I know the people that we work with are really pleased, the small businesses. I think I've seen 87% of the exporters in Arizona are small businesses, and so those are the people that are going to really benefit. Yes, the big multinationals undoubtedly will benefit as well because they'll be doing this foreign direct investment. They'll also be able to export, but the vast majority, the percentage of exporters are actually mainly small businesses. This is going to give them a head start. There's not nearly enough exporters in Arizona, or there's not nearly enough companies in Arizona exporting. This is going to give them a boost. This will be an opportunity for them to take the leap.
So that is what, and I questioned earlier, what changes? You're saying that changes. Others will say maybe some jobs might be lost in the process, but you're saying not necessarily?
Well, there'll be shifts. Some industries and some products will shift out, and some products will shift in. So and that's what's scary. That's when change is difficult, right? And we saw that with NAFTA, and the vast majority of opinions around NAFTA in aggregate is that it was a good thing, but things shifted. So one of the things that countries and states need to realize is that those shifts cause training requirements for people. So that's why education in Arizona is so critical, is that if anything is going to be shifting out, workers might need retraining. And so that goes back to why education is so critically important. Also, the jobs might go higher end, so we need higher tech jobs in Arizona, which means the education system has to be able to bring those people in. That all goes together, so lower the tariffs, improve the education, and Arizona improves.
Real quickly, what's the status of this deal now? Where are we with this?
It's been agreed to by the 12 countries, and now each of the countries needs to approve it. I saw today President Obama was encouraging the Canadians to get it ratified as soon as possible, and undoubtedly he's been saying the same thing about the U.S. I believe it's going to be passed, based on what I understand, in the U.S. as well. It gets passed, and by next year we'll see some real changes.
Good information. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today.
Tempe officials recently announced the formation of 2 economic development programs designed to grow the city's workforce, add businesses, and help entrepreneurs succeed. Tempe Mayor Mark Mitchell joins us now with more on those programs. Mayor, good to see you.
Good to see you, Ted. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Let's start. One of these programs is called The Vault. What is The Vault?
Well, it's an exciting program that we worked with our economic development staff to come up with, because as you know, regarding economic development, what was sustainable, a couple of decades ago is not sustainable today. So we need to figure out a way to be creative and to really tap into some of our greatest assets, and that's our innovative and creative workforce that we have in Tempe. So we came up with an idea called The Vault, where we have an opportunity to really work with startup companies to help them grow and nurture. And we are partnering with a company called Transmosis out of Oakland, California. And Transmosis has a huge success story. The companies that they partnered with last year alone generated $30 million. And what they're going to be doing is providing some training, some guidance, and support to help some of these small ideas really move forward. And the Vault is taking place in the old Tempe Performing Arts Center right next to City Hall.
Okay, and it's kind of like subsidizing office space, having workshops. What goes on here?
Well, it is office space. It's a place where companies that will work with Transmosis get some ideas and creative ideas flowing. We have about 25,000 square feet that we are transferring into a workspace as an incubator space to really help these companies grow.
What kind of companies are you hoping to attract?
Well, some of the emerging companies in the tech field, for example. We talk about a sustainable economy and a sustainable workforce, and in order to do that, we're looking at the service industry and the emerging tech companies. And for example, we're working with a company that has electrical bicycle that they're trying to get that out into the market. And there's another company that's looking at mobile apps for gaming. And so forth. So there's so many different opportunities happening, and have a company like Transmosis come here to really work with us, to really incubate and get some ideas into reality. It's really a great win for our community.
And another program is called In Tempe. Sounds like Transmosis is involved with that one as well. What is In Tempe?
Okay, In Tempe is a space that we're taking in our public library for companies, or let's say for someone that has an idea about a business, but they really don't have all the mechanics down to put a business plan together. So working with Transmosis, they would be working and volunteering and mentoring some individuals that would want to have a space in the public library to really take some ideas and to make it and turn it into a business plan. And in doing so, with the work with Transmosis and an incubator space, or with the workspace that we're providing in the Tempe Public Library, the Vault, the In Tempe business, is a great opportunity for people to work and collaborate. They don't have to pay rent. They can utilize some of the community rooms to have meetings and work with people and really get some of the mentors to help them along.
Is In Tempe, if I'm going to build a better mousetrap, but I'm not sure what I'm really doing, is that where you go? Is In Tempe the first stop, and the Vault is when I finally got my idea going?
Correct.
I need
In
to
Tempe is the first stop. So it's where people have ideas. Great ideas happen in our community, and great ideas turn into small companies. The small companies turn into bigger companies. As we all know, they really give back to the community.
It's all fine and dandy to get these companies up and operational and being father figures and all that kind of business, but what are you doing to keep them in Tempe once they become big, successful, and famous?
Well, it's important for us to maintain the quality of life in Tempe. We also need to make sure that we listen to our residents, because what they really expect and they enjoy is quality of life services. And in order for us to provide those, we have to have the necessary resources. In order for us to have the resources, this is where you see a lot of construction happening in Tempe, and it's really growing well. So much so that I think we have to rename our city bird the crane, because we have so many cranes in and around the Tempe area.
Okay, but again, if I go to In Tempe, I get mentorship and all the collaboration. I next move on to the Vault, where I get subsidized office space, and I'm really ready to take off. Is there some sort of way for the city to make sure, and this would be true for any city, to make sure that when I do take off, I take off from Tempe?
Well, because hopefully we built that relationship with those emerging companies, and we work with our economic development staff to really find space for them in our community. And we do. We have space that we're willing to work with them. We're adapting old uses and converting them into usable space today. And that's a good example of the old Tempe Performing Arts Center, where we're taking 25,000 square feet and turning that into an incubator space with Transmosis called the Vault. So, and once you succeed from there, we'll like them to stay in the valley, and more particularly stay in Tempe.
Okay, how much cost to the city for these programs?
The program there's no cost for us. The only cost that we're accruing is in terms of the build out, the tenant improvements in the Vault. Anything else, there's no other cost for that.
So it's just basic, just construction, remodeling kind of
Correct,
stuff.
just to make it more usable for the vault.
Okay, companies, entrepreneurs listening to this in Tempe, the vault, they're saying this sounds like right up my alley. I've got the better mousetrap. How do they get involved?
Well, they get involved by contacting our Economic Development Office, Donna Kennedy, and then she'll be working with Transmosis, with the vault, to really find some space for them to see if there's some opportunities for them to move forward. And in order to work with the Tempe Business Center, as well as you also contact our Economic Development Office, or you can contact myself or any of the council members. We can help direct those individuals as well.
Are they up and operational now or soon?
No, we're just kicking those off. It's going to be next year, beginning January of 2016.
All right, very good. Mayor, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Education looks at the 30 million word gap between children from low and high income families. We'll talk more about the word gap and its impact in a moment, but first, producer Christina Estes and photographer Langston Fields introduce us to a mom who understands the importance of words.
Can you tell me what letter this word starts with?
When Alexa Slate showed up at this Buckeye preschool,
Okay, listening ears. Everybody turn on your listening ears.
she was already a pretty good listener, thanks to her mom, Claudia.
I noticed that the more I talked to her and the more I made facial expressions, the more she would react to them.
Claudia started reading books early.
Probably the first years she would just watch and watch, help turn the pages to, kind of following along, and I could see her eyes following along where I was reading.
Claudia made a point of talking a lot.
Going out for a walk, just saying, okay, there goes a car, and that's a tree, and there goes a bird, just incorporating it in everything that we do.
Does it feel funny?
It does. At first it did. It was a little, she's not responding to me, but I could see that she was enjoying it. And when I didn't, on those down days that I wasn't talking as much, I noticed that she could tell the difference.
Researchers behind the word gap study found that 85 to 98% of the words kids use by the age of 3 came from their parents' vocabularies.
No way!
For the first 2.5 years of her daughter's life, Claudia didn't work outside the home, and Alexa was surrounded by her mother's words. Now that Alexa is almost 4, it's Mom who's doing more listening.
She tells me her princess story every night, and it starts off the same, but every day it changes a little. She adds more detail.
A hairy H.
Studies show that the number of words that a child knows by the age of 4 is a strong indicator of how well they'll do later on in school.
I start with 2 A's, a little A and a big A.
While Alexa is on the right track, Claudia has no plans to stop talking. In fact, she's even a little more vocal now that Alexa has a younger brother.
Talk to your kids, have conversations. It's okay if they don't respond. They know what you're saying and they enjoy it.
Great job. That is our red heart. Good job.
Experts say talking, reading, or singing will help build a child's vocabulary and understanding of how language works. And here with more on the 30 million word gap is Christy Sandvik, Superintendent of the Buckeye Elementary School District, and Ginger Sandweg, Senior Director of Early Learning for First Things First. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ted.
This 30 million word gap, how did they come? What kind of research was done to find out about this?
Well, it's actually pretty interesting. There was a doctor out of the University of, I believe, Chicago, who was originally putting in cochlear implants for children. And she did some follow-up with the families, wanted to know how the children, or the babies essentially, were doing with the cochlear implants. And she realized that some of the students, or actually children at that point, some of the little babies were and responding well and some weren't. And so a question in her mind was, why is that so? Why is that happening? And further research was conducted, and what she found was that this 30 million word gap exists between families that are of higher SES or socioeconomic status than less. So it's an interesting phenomenon.
It sure is, and it makes me wonder, and now is it only when parents or adults speak to the children? Because some of these lower income children, they come from big families. They've got brothers and sisters who never shut up. I mean, how does that work?
Right, absolutely, and I think it's important that the talking continues on. It doesn't necessarily need to come from the families themselves, the parents or the grandparents who are caring for families, but it comes from a variety of places. It could be older siblings, it could be from the schools that they go to, the early care and education programs or the child care settings that they're in, the importance of people talking with children, responding to children's language, wherever it comes from is important.
That responding to children's language would, I would think, take television, radio, video screens away, correct?
Could be, yes. She and others have recommended that taking a time out from technology is a good thing, to tune into your children, to talk more, and build that awareness in anywhere you're at, if you're in the stores or in your car, that you're really building vocabularies, especially with children that are, just 3 years old and younger.
Indeed. And preschool skills or preschool exposure, what you find out from 18 to 24 months even, does that really correlate to later learning?
Absolutely. We have a lot of information from brain research about the connections that are made when a familiar adult is talking with you, is singing with you, is reacting to you. We know that that sets the foundation for later learning. And we know that a strong vocabulary in the early years is definitely connected to school success, third grade reading, high school graduation.
So you could basically, I mean, sitting there in the crib, you can just sit there and talk up a storm, read War and Peace. It doesn't matter as long as they're hearing something.
Correct.
And there's that communication going on.
Right, absolutely. And that back and forth communication. So it's not just bombard them with language, but talk with them
Yes.
and then wait and listen for their response so that there's an ongoing dialogue.
And if the response is completely unintelligible, so much the better.
Right.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. That research is so fascinating to me because what she found really was it didn't, like you said, it doesn't matter what you're saying as long as you're speaking and you're utilizing some kind of vocabulary. The difference being that kids that were in families that were in poverty had the huge gap.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do in partnership with First Things First and our school district is to build that awareness to help parents know that, like you said, just talking to your children, speaking to your children.
So what needs to be done? We're talking universal preschool. I mean, is that even early enough? It sounds like even that's a little late in the game.
That's an interesting concept. I think by the time children get to kindergarten, if they are behind and they aren't exposed to those vocabulary words and decoding and phonemic awareness, those things, that you're absolutely right. Preschool may not be even soon enough.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't think there's any one solution out there. What we know is that families need some options. Families might benefit from parenting education. They might benefit from their child having access to a high quality early childhood program. They might benefit from some intensive home visiting programs that help support their knowledge and their awareness about vocabulary and the importance of it for later school success.
You agree?
Oh, absolutely. I think the nice thing about preschool programs is that they're oftentimes full of all kinds of resources for parents and explicit instruction. But the nice thing about our partnership in the Buckeye Elementary School District with families and First Things First is that gives parents an opportunity to network as well. So a lot of times parents are a little unsure. They're sometimes single parents, and they need an opportunity to talk to one another and find out, is that working? How did that happen? Is this a success that you could share? So.
And I would imagine even sending home with maybe older brothers and sisters, or at the kids themselves, conversation starters, maybe a suggestion for a picture book, these sort. Picture books aren't bad, are they?
No.
They're not, and actually it gives children an opportunity to make up stories and make up their own language.
The word gap, I think, was studied. I was reading that it was first studied in the early 1990s. It doesn't sound like it's gotten much better over the past couple of decades. What's going on here?
I think that there's a lot going on, especially for families, low-income families. They have so many things that they are dealing with to survive, and those things get in the way of making sure that there's time for quality interactions, for talking with your children. But I don't think that that is something that we can't do anything about. Raising some awareness with families, giving families tools that it doesn't take a whole lot of time. When I'm doing those daily tasks, going to the grocery store, I can have those conversations with children.
And so that information, just to get that information out, should narrow the gap, because again, since the early 90s, it should be getting better, I would think.
I think it will help narrow the gap, but I also think that, again, having an opportunity for parents to talk to one another, to be able to say, hey, is it okay that I pointed out the M at what have you, and I'm making these funny noises, and I feel like I should be at home doing these things. And we're trying to help people to understand that across a variety of environments, it's it's okay to do that.
Yeah, gesturing, singing, just talking, just the whole night. Just make sure that you get a little conversation going, even if they don't say a word back to you, huh?
Absolutely.
Well, good to have you both here. Good stuff. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thursday on Arizona Horizon, we'll speak with Animal Planet star and best-selling cat behaviorist Jackson Galaxy, who joins us to talk about creating a cat-friendly home. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Helios Education Foundation is proud to underwrite Arizona Education, a 12-month series highlighting the issues affecting college and career readiness of our students. Through a decade of strategic partnerships, Helios is working to change lives and strengthen communities through education.